Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli continues to find himself cornered as Chairman Oli has started skipping top brass meetings of the ruling NCP. The scenario strongly indicates an upper hand enjoyed by Executive Chairman Dahal in the party equation. And with Chairman Oli adamant on not relenting to the pressure mounted by the party colleagues, the Nepalese politics braces for an interesting turn of events. Good morning, I'm Sarah Sapsanama and these are the headlines of the hour. The internal party bickering of the ruling Nepal Communist Party intensifies as Prime Minister Oli skips standing committee meeting. The next meeting deferred by a week. The NEPSE index witnesses a record plunge of 123 points, the central bank's indication to revise margin lending attributed to the free fall. The international concern towards the protest launched by Indian farmers on the rise. British lawmakers lend their support after Canada and United Nations. And defending champions Liverpool crushed Wolves 4-0 while Tottenham climbs to the top of English Premier League on better goal difference. The ongoing power conflicts between Prime Minister and Chairman of the ruling Nepal Communist Party KP Sharma Oli and Executive Chairman Pushpakamal Dahal has intensified, taking the ruling party towards a split. As Prime Minister Oli boycotted the Secretariat meeting, both the proposals submitted separately earlier at the Secretariat Committee meeting by the Chairman duo were tabled at the Standing Committee meeting yesterday. The ongoing scenario indicates that possibilities of consensus in the ruling party has most likely ended. At the beginning of the meeting yesterday, Deputy Prime Minister Ishwar Pokhrel informed of Premier Oli's decision not to participate in the meeting, saying that he would not attend the meeting until Executive Chairman Dahal withdraws his proposal. In response, Executive Chairman Dahal reiterated that he would not withdraw the proposal and presented only the agenda of the meeting to solve the internal conflicts. Discussions on this will be held in the next meeting, which is scheduled for 13th of December, while the Central Committee meeting has been deferred until the 20th. Political analysts have said that even as Prime Minister Oli did not show up for the meeting, he has accepted the party process. Premier Oli is in a minority in the party committees as the factions led by Executive Chairman Dahal and Senior Leader Madhav Kumar Nepal have stood against the Prime Minister. The reports, along with personal allegations and differences, have now reached the Standing Committee. The bottom line of the Dahal camp is to move ahead with the party procedure, while Premier Oli is against discussing Dahal's report. The postponement of the meeting for a week by the Dahal Nepal faction, which has been adamant that the majority decisions should be accepted by all in the Secretariat Committee, according to analysts, will give both the sides time to be flexible and initiate informal consensus. The government unveiled a new foreign policy yesterday outlining the priorities and challenges of the changing global scenario. In its first integrated foreign policy, considering both the domestic and international perspectives, the government mentioned that the major challenges for Nepal is to make use of border security and foreign assistance conducive to national interest.
The government has prepared a new policy adopting a non-aligned foreign policy based on Panchashil, emphasizing geopolitical balance. The new policy includes instability in the global order, multilateral mechanism, border security, national interest in international aid and economic diplomacy as the major challenges. Unveiling the integrated foreign policy on Sunday, Minister for Foreign Affairs Pradeep Kewali stated that Nepal would adopt pluralistic and diverse diplomatic practices. The new policy states that independent and balanced relations would be maintained with all allies, including neighbors, on the basis of sovereign equality and mutual benefits. Nepal has also put forward a policy of resolving historical treaties and agreements on the basis of facts and evidences and through diplomatic means. The amended policy prepared by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs was endorsed by the Cabinet on 28th of October. The government formulated the new foreign policy considering the Constitution of Nepal, recommendations given by several committees, previous year's national dialogue, documents of political parties, and suggestions given by experts and researchers. The new foreign policy has been compared with Gautam Buddha's message of peace and non-violence and Prithvi Narayan Shah's statement terming Nepal as a yam between two stones. The new document claims that Nepal has improved ties with both the neighboring countries and terms the current period as historic in its relations with China. Diplomatic experts have opined that the future of the amended policy depends upon the government's readiness to implement it.
The NEPSE index witnessed a record plunge of 123 points yesterday. Issuing a review report of the first quarter of the fiscal year on Thursday, the Nepal Rashtra Bank had hinted that it would revise the margin lending, which impacted the share market yesterday. The margin lending provision has a limit of 70%, while the central bank has hinted to reduce the current percentage in a bid to control the unnatural growth in the stock market. All the sectors suffered losses yesterday, with the subgroups losing a massive 9.13%, followed by the life insurance group with 8.26% and the manufacturing, trading and microfinance groups by 7% each. The NEPSE eventually lost 123.34 points in the first trading day of the week yesterday to settle at 1,932.11 points, while the intraday transaction stood at a little over 7.2 billion rupees. The shares of Nepal Reinsurance Company witnessed the highest individual turnover of 1.16 billion rupees yesterday. Many hospitals in the country have not been providing treatment for even minor diseases in recent time. In this context, in our Public Voice segment, we had asked the locals in Ramechhab, why have all the three tiers of government been careless regarding the health of the public? Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
नागरिकको सुरक्षा गर्ने, नागरिकको स्वास्थ्य उपचारको लागि नेपाल सरकारको पहिलो कर्तव्य हो। त्यसमाथि पनि विश्वव्यापी महामारी फैलिरहेको बेलामा यो गभर्नमेन्टले, यो सरकारले पूर्व तयारी नगरिकन जनतामाथि खेलवाड गर्ने जुन चेष्टा गरेको छ, यसले जनतालाई अलिकति आघात पुगेको छ।
व्यक्तिगत स्वास्थ्यको लागि एउटा संस्थागत स्वास्थ्यको लागि चाहिँ एउटा अभिवृद्धि हुने हिसाबले चाहिँ जुन सरकार लागिरहेको छ र नागरिकको रूपमा चाहिँ एउटा नागरिकहरूलाई चाहिँ जति सेवा सुविधा दिनुपर्ने त्यो चाहिँ सरकारबाट भएको छैन।
अस्पतालमा जाँदाखेरि बेड नभएर कति मान्छेहरू अकालमा मरिरहेका छन्। स्वास्थ्य सम्बन्धी सरकार चाहिँ अलिकति लाचारीपन देखाएको हो कि जस्तो पनि देखिएको छ।
कसलाई लडाउने, कसलाई पछार्ने, त्यसपछि आफ्नो हातमा चाहिँ सत्ता राखी छोड्नको निमित्त यो कोभिड-19 लाई प्रभावित पारेको देखिन्छ।
Time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
The question is, why haven't government hospitals themselves implemented the government's decision to provide free treatment to COVID-19 patients? Your options are A, unclear policies, B, lack of monitoring, and C, lack of budget. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And with that, we move on to our special segment, Off the Beat.
Sinduli, that lies just over 150 kilometers east of the federal capital, is known as a rich harvest of sweet oranges, locally known as Junar. This juicy fruit, worth 400 million rupees, used to come to Kathmandu Valley annually. However, this year, amid the coronavirus pandemic, the Junar business has been greatly limited. The orchards at Sinduli's Golanzor rural municipality are laden with ripe sweet oranges, and by this time in earlier years, half of the produce would have already made their way to major markets. However, this year, by early December, only 10% of these fruits have made their way to market. The local farmers in Sinduli do not have storage facility, while the road condition has remained dilapidated, adding to the woes of the farmers in Sinduli. Some 300 farmers from this rural village are affiliated to Junar farming, while farmers from Majgovinde and Alegaon alone used to supply sweet oranges worth 120 million rupees. Sundarkanda Mitra Mandal, a social organization, has been feeding patients and their relatives at Bheri Hospital at a minimum cost of 20 rupees. The group has also been offering free-of-cost food to poverty-stricken patients who come for treatment at the hospital and their relatives. The group has set up a tent at the hospital premises and has been involved in this noble cause for providing food at a minimum price of 20 rupees. The food stall set up by the group has become quite popular as some influential people have also started visiting the stalls as they also contribute some money as a charity to the organization. Some 1,000 patients visit the Bheri Hospital for treatment on a daily basis. Trials for paragliding have started in Bahunchura of Ramechhap's Manthali municipality. A paragliding flight took off from an altitude of 1,700 meters near the Mahadev temple in Bahunchura. Further assessment will be carried out as the test flight turned out to be successful. The paragliders view that the location at Bahunchura in Manthali is suitable to conduct commercial paragliding. This is Sarah Chitrakar for our special segment of The Beat and Kantipur News Desk.
That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a great day ahead.